Hello again to everybody, all the travelers, everybody out there in YouTube world. Welcome to the comprehensive travel guide. And as I have said before, I always try to bring you guys information in regards to flights, hotels, and other vacation spots. So hopefully it makes your travels easier. And today I'm talking about Cebu Pacific, their flight 5J4310 from Clark in Manila, Pampanga to Cebu Mactan in Cebu. And this flight left on December 6th, 2025 at 12:15 p.m. and arrived in Cebu at 1:45 p.m. As many of you would know, this actually was a replacement of a flight 5J4301 that I was scheduled to take the day before, and that was a total disaster. But nonetheless, this is the replacement flight, and I wanted to give you guys some information. I also have put up the video of some background of the taxi, takeoff, and landing of the flight, so you could kind of get an idea of what it was like. So anyway, leaving Clark Airport is a very easy and smooth operation. Basically, once you get to the check-in counter, there's very few people, so it's pretty quick to get your boarding pass. Going through the equivalent of the US TSA is very fast because there's hardly people there, maybe at peak 10 people going through. And then when you go through, you go into the waiting area. This was at gate 1, which is a very short walk going to take the plane to leave. One of the things that you would realize is that Clark is a very big airport, very beautiful, but totally underutilized. Outside, you're gonna find a Wendy's. You're gonna find, I think it's like a Chinese noodle shop, and then another little restaurant where you can get like all day breakfast. They also serve some things like steak and eggs. That's gonna run you like maybe 2,000 pesos for steak and eggs meal, and that's pretty much about it. There's maybe one or two other little kiosks selling juice and some things like that. So you do not have a huge variety there as compared to Cebu, where there's a multitude of stores and restaurants and shops and so on. Once you go through the security and you get inside, it does not get much different. There's a coffee shop, Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. There's a Subway. That's a Subway sandwich from the US and Canada. And pretty much that's about it. You're not going to find anything more there. I think there's a souvenir shop and a little snack shop, a little noodle shop. Again, not a very big variety. So the flight actually left on time, so there was no issue with that. The boarding was pretty smooth, and this aircraft is actually the Airbus A321neo, and I guess it's a fairly newer aircraft, and it's not too cramped. Still is cramped in keeping with Cebu Pacific's cramped style, but the legroom was not bad, and the tray table in this case actually came down, so you could put down the tray table, have something to eat or drink on there. If you all watched my previous video on the flight from Cebu to Clark, you would remember that I mentioned that the seat was so cramped that the table could not even come down. So this newer aircraft, this A321neo, the table can come down. You have a little bit more leg room. The seat does not recline, but the handles do lift up, both in the aisle and along the other areas. So if you're lucky to get two or the three free seats, you can kind of spread out comfortably, but the seat will not recline. The actual trip itself was not bad. The flight attendants were excellent, and I want to give a special shout out to Noreen and Keisha, who were very, very pleasant. They responded very quickly with the call button, and they were also always smiling up and down the aisles. So they do deserve a special shout out. And as you all will know, that in my upcoming video in regards to the fiasco that happened in Clark with Audrey and Andrea, they were the epitome of worst. They were pretty much a 1 out of 10. In this case, I would give Noreen and Keisha a 10 out of 10. If there was a 11 or a 12, I'd give them that. They were actually really fantastic. So a big shout out to Noreen and Keisha. Anyway, the flight was uneventful, was pretty smooth. The aircraft was new, and the flight attendants made it very comfortable. That hour and 15-minute flight went very, very quickly. When we arrived in Cebu on December 6th, the remnants of Typhoon Wilma was passing through. There was very heavy rain. I'm not too sure why this aircraft had to park in the international area, and then the passengers had to be bussed to the domestic terminal. This process took quite a while because the bus was taking very long to come. And again, this shows some poor organization on behalf of Cebu Pacific. You would expect, if they know the time of arrival of the aircraft, they would have the bus waiting there already. Once the bus arrived, then we had a further delay because of the rain falling. We had to take the steps to go down to get to the bus. The umbrellas were not there. They had to wait for the umbrellas to come. All in all, there was probably a 45-minute wait in getting off of the aircraft. Again, this screams of disorganization on behalf of Cebu Pacific. The bus should have been there at least, if nothing else, 5 minutes in advance of the aircraft. Someone should have been there with the umbrellas waiting. So as soon as they arrived and the doors opened, passengers could get out and actually leave the aircraft. This was a shortcoming on behalf of Cebu Pacific, which actually marred an otherwise fantastic flight, excellent in-flight service. And I don't blame any of the flight attendants for this. And I don't think that they're at any fault in this. This is strictly Cebu Pacific's organization, or the ground staff or the ground crew, that seemed to be totally disorganized. But in any event, we got onto the bus, and then the bus took us to the domestic arrival terminal. Once you get out of the domestic terminal arrival, then there's a multitude of stores, restaurants. You can get anything you want there, from the roasted pig, lechon baboy. You can get snacks, sandwiches. There's a host of food places and restaurants there, and it's quite surprising for a domestic terminal. And once you get out, if you're going to take a taxi, you just walk straight down to the taxi bay. And if you're taking a taxi, remember, the yellow taxis that are there are supposed to be metered, but they're going to charge you double the price, because when they take you anywhere, they're also charging you a return trip, even though no one's in the car, because apparently they're not allowed to pick up passengers. They can only pick up at the airport. At the white taxi stand, you're going to get a pretty much cheaper taxi. It's a flag down, and then by the kilometer you're charged. The yellow taxi is going to be about double the price of the white taxi, but mind you, it's cheap in any event. A far trip on a white taxi is going to charge you $6. So with a yellow taxi, it's $12. I mean, if you're coming from the US, it's no big deal to take a yellow taxi. It's a far cry from what you're going to pay in the US for a trip like that might cost you $75. One of the things that you have to remember is that taking these flights from anywhere and getting into the Philippines on the domestic or even international side, you want to try to get out as early as possible, get to the taxi stand as quickly as possible, because if you get out late, there tends to be a very long line and you'll have a long wait in getting a taxi. If you get out early and you get to the taxi stand, one or two people in front of you, you'll have maybe a 10-minute wait, so that's not too bad. So anyway, that was the review of this flight, Cebu Pacific 5J4310. I would give the flight itself a 5-star, 10 out of 10. The seating, I would also give probably a 5-star, 10 out of 10. I mean, it's a smaller aircraft, it's domestic, it's not international, a B777 or an Airbus A380. It's a small aircraft, A31, but I've flown on a few of these domestic flights between, as I've said before, Tacloban, Cebu. I've flown from Cebu to Korea, and of all of these, this is one of the more comfortable flights. The fact that the tray table can come down is good, so I'd give the flight itself a 10 out of 10. The service, and especially Noreen and Keisha, I give them a 15 out of 10. Fantastic service. The ground service, that was pretty poor, maybe 5 out of 10. I mean, nothing fantastic to talk about. So again, thanks again, you guys, for watching the review of Cebu Pacific 5J4310. I hope it kind of brings you some information about Clark, about the flight, and the ground servicing. Thanks again for watching. Do like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you actually get notified every time a video is put up, and you can be more informed in your travels. Thanks again, and have a fantastic day.